Paula Deen has not been having a very good week since it became clear that she harbored, at best, sort of racist opinions on the use of the N-word and things like that. So now we've got video for you, and it is not of those statements. This is from 2012, and I believe that these things she said may actually be worse and more racist than what she was actually fired from the Food Network for. So we're going to watch these 3 videos and then do a little bit of commentary. First, she was relaying one of her ancestors' times in the wake of the Civil War. Let's listen.
The war was over. He had lost his son. He had lost the war. He didn't know how to deal with life, with no one to help operate his plantation. You know, there was 30-something people on his books, and the next year's census I go to find, and there's like 0.
I'm going to be a little bit harsh here and say that if one of your ancestors was a slave owner, I don't really give a fuck how bad he felt about losing his slaves. And say the word slaves, by the way. Stop saying workers. Stop saying people on the books. They were slaves, okay? It wasn't like being a greeter at Walmart. It wasn't just kind of a shitty job. They couldn't leave if they wanted to. A war had to be fought. 600 or so thousand people had to die to give them the right to just walk away from the plantation if they didn't want to work there anymore. And so honestly, if his profit margins fell, I don't have a lot of sympathy for the guy. Now, she does say that the changes were incredible. She says that they were good. That's good. She does occasionally say these reasonable things in the midst of all this insanity. But she goes on to talk about the orientation of the South towards prejudice and her view on what prejudice actually is now.
I feel like the South is almost less prejudiced because black folks played such an integral part in our lives. They were like our family.
I guess if you're a racist, that sounds like a reasonable thing. That sounds like some sort of compassion, but it's not, okay? What you said there is basically, we felt really close to them, like we feel to dogs, for instance. They weren't your family, okay? Yeah, maybe sometimes there was kind of a congenial atmosphere on some of these plantations, but at the end of the day, they were your property. They couldn't leave if they wanted to. Their marriages could be broken up, their kids could be shipped off, they could be beaten and possibly even killed. Don't give me the economic argument that it wouldn't make sense to kill a slave because it was lost property. Yeah, I get that. But you could kill them if you wanted to. That's kind of a bad economic situation to set up in the first place. And so don't give me this family stuff, okay? They couldn't leave if they wanted to. At the end of the day, that's slightly more important than if you said hi to them as you walked by in the morning. Now finally, possibly the most awkward part of these 2012 comments, which by the way happened at the New York Times headquarters, you'd think there would have been a little bit more press, or maybe it just went under the radar, I guess, is when she wanted to show that she wasn't racist by talking about one of her black friends. That's always a good route to take. Let's listen.
I have a young man in my life, and his name is Hollis Johnson, and he's black as that board.
Here, isn't he here?
Stand up, Hollis.
Is Hollis here?
Come
Hi,
out here, Hollis. We can't see you standing against that dark board.
That was possibly the most racist thing I've ever seen covered by the New York Times. What is it about racist people that they think it's perfectly fine to refer to the color of someone's skin as if he's as black as this background here. So obviously if I like him, I can't hate any black people, right? So talking about the difference in skin tone and saying that that should influence how we see them, and look, he's blacker than a light-skinned black person and I let him stay in my house. That's not a good route to take in any case. I don't like any part of that little video you saw. So she refers twice to the color of his skin. He apparently is fine with it. I don't know the guy. I don't know his circumstance. Maybe he's doing the best he can with a harsh deck of cards he's been dealt from. I don't know. I don't like that the audience laughed at that point. That seems pretty racist. I didn't like the welcome to the South, as if saying, yeah, this seems kind of questionable, a little bit awkward, maybe a little bit racist, but we're from the South. So those are the videos I wanted to focus on from 2012. Look, Paula Deen has already been fired by the Food Network. Within a month, she is going to be gone. Now her fans are pissed off. Look, I have a strong connection to Alton Brown. I guess if it turned out that he was racist, I would feel bad if he lost his job, maybe because he makes all those puppets and stuff. But look, this is not just a couple of N-bombs dropped or anything like that. Like, she clearly that's how she feels about black people. Now look, I understand that she doesn't think she's racist. People in general do not think that they are bad. That's how it works. Villains don't think they're villains. They simply think that their motivations make sense in a way that we don't. So she doesn't think that she's racist, but she just has this history now of saying incredibly racist things, revealing a worldview that is 150 years out of the mainstream. Now, does that mean that she should be fired? Not necessarily. I think that horrible people should be allowed to keep their jobs. I think that it should be up to sort of the free market. If people don't want to watch Paula Deen because she's a racist, I think they're fine and free and able to make that decision. And if Food Network wants to fire her because people don't want to watch her program, which is why I assume they fired her, I think that makes a ton of sense. And those who are sticking up for her, look, I understand the connection that we feel to celebrities, but at least in this issue, she does not seem like a good person. I'm going to be real. I'm going to keep it real here. Maybe in other ways, she's a fine person. She makes tasty food. I'll grant her that. But she does appear to have a long history of racism, and it looks like she's paying the price for it.